You're listening to Brainbusta Radio.
Whether you're a Sheila or a Cobber, you know you're listening to Wrestling Reverb. This is a public service announcement from Mags from the Badlands podcast on Brainbusta Radio.
Hey yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb. Yeah. J Will. Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt. Fan for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J Will. Welcome to the show, yeah. Wrestle, flow, 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 yeah.
It is All Elite Week here on Brainbusta Radio. We welcome you to Wrestling Reverb. Kevin, are you ready to talk some All Elite Wrestling?
Yeah, we're sort of stepping outside the box here in conjunction with Brainbusta Radio, of course. It's All Elite Week here on Brainbusta Radio. And so we're doing our part to contribute to the cause.
Oh, yes. We've been, I'd say primarily we're a WWE podcast. It's not like we exclusively talk about WWE, but that's what we watch the most. But All Elite Week, All Elite Wrestling, AEW, whatever you want to refer to it as, it is a little bit of a step outside the comfort zone for us to talk about something completely different. And we'll get into All Elite Wrestling and everything that entails with All Elite Wrestling in just a bit. But it's been a bit of a wild week in wrestling in general, Kevin. We've had Money in the Bank this week. We had somewhat interesting things happen on Raw and SmackDown. Double or Nothing's coming up on the weekend. It is a somewhat big week for wrestling.
Yeah, it's a big time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, that's an easy way to put it. And before we get to All Elite Wrestling, we do have to talk a little bit about WWE, of course, because it is the first show we're doing since Money in the Bank. Just briefly, we're not going to go into it too much. What did you think about Money in the Bank and the events that transpired? Because I know that you had some issues with the ending of Money in the Bank when we were chatting, but hey, it's been a few days. Have you kind of let it sink in and actually think about it?
Yeah, I have. Money in the Bank overall I thought was a great show. I really did. I thought everything... I didn't think there was anything that didn't deliver. You know, I liked pretty much everything about it except the ending. And yeah, I gave it some time. I gave it a little bit. I slept on it. You know, I gave it a couple of days to think about it. Still hate it. Still don't like Brock Lesnar winning a briefcase that should go to someone up and coming who just... The thing with Brock Lesnar is that he can walk into the company and command a title shot at any time. I'm not concerned about him fighting for the belt. I'm concerned about him taking an opportunity away from someone else who could have used it, like an Ali or an Andrade. Those are the guys that the Money in the Bank briefcase are tailor made for. The briefcase is made for guys who are right on the cusp of stardom, and they need a little push into the main event stratosphere. And instead, I don't like rewarding main eventers with the briefcase. It has happened in the past, and it's worked out. And I think it's going to work out here, honest to God, because Lesnar's a draw, and people want to tune in to see him, so they're going to keep posted on WWE. I just don't like it personally.
Well, yeah, I understand it. Devil's advocate here, it actually works. I think it adds so much intrigue to stuff, but I don't think they're going to run with it for very long, because I think it's just going to cash in for the Saudi show, to be honest with you. So if they actually let it run, imagine if Brock's not there week to week. Imagine if Brock went away for a little while, and not we forget that Brock's got the Money in the Bank, but imagine him just coming back to cash in, or coming back to attempt to cash in. I think that could be cool, but I think he's just going to cash it in for the Saudi show. But hey, it is what it is. I was mad-ish at it, but like you, Money in the Bank was actually really good. Both Money in the Bank ladder matches were really good matches. for completely different reasons. The women's Money in the Bank was a little faster than the men's Money in the Bank. It was a little more just like spot, which isn't a bad thing. And then the men's Money in the Bank was a little, I don't want to say slower, but it just was in terms of spot to spot. But both really good. Bayley had great moments at Money in the Bank. Yeah, it was a good show. And the only other thing I want to touch on before we move on to All Elite Wrestling is the 24/7 Championship.
Yep.
I'll start with you, and then I'll put my thoughts on it.
Okay, so I am a big ol' fan of the 24/7 Championship. Maybe not the belt itself, although I don't think it's like as ugly as people are making it out to be. It's supposed to look like a clock, kind of, and I could see that. It's not the greatest looking belt by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not really concerned with what the belt looks like. You gotta remember the hardcore title was literally just a broken belt. Mm-hmm. So you gotta keep things in perspective. I like the idea because it gets these guys who, you know, people refer to as jobbers, although I think that's demeaning, so I don't like to refer to them as that. But it gets these guys who don't get the opportunities that their main event peers get. It gives them an opportunity to compete for something. I mean, look at the three champions we've had are Titus O'Neil, Robert Roode, my bad, and R-Truth. And the three guys, I mean, R-Truth and Roode have had some mid-card success. Titus O'Neil has never held a singles title before, and he was the first ever champion. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have been all over Twitter with my love for the 24/7 Championship. I think it's just, like you said, it is a chance for talent that isn't getting used or talent that doesn't have a lot to do. Gives them something to do. It gives them a reason to be on television. And I'm all for when some people aren't. I don't understand why, because that kind of TV to me, that kind of organized chaos is just fun. You don't have to think about it. The title doesn't mean a lot of, it's not very prestigious. We understand that. There's going to be a hell of a lot of reigns on a hell of a bunch of people. But that's not what this title is about. It's not about being, ooh, I'm the 24/7 champion, so let me be, a main event. That's not what this is. This is just out of pure fun. It's going to produce a lot of comedy. And I think that's what's lacking a little bit from WWE programming, to be honest, is fun. There's not a lot of just straight up fun where you don't have to really think about what's happening. I think R-Truth is perfect for the title for a little while. You've got Drake Maverick chasing him around. Kathy Kelly was trying to find him to be the champion. I like that anyone is eligible. They actually said it on WWE.com. Anybody is eligible as long as you work in the company. So, I mean,
yeah.
Could you imagine some of the fun if a commentator won? Imagine if Corey Graves won that championship, or whatever. They said it can be defended anywhere, anytime. They listed on WWE.com that it can be defended on WWE Network shows like Table for Three, etc., etc. Imagine if a title change happened on Table for Three.
It would make people want to tune in to Table for Three.
This is the age we live in. This championship to me is like the social media championship of some kind.
Yeah.
Who isn't, especially people our age, Kevin, who isn't tapped into their phone 24/7. We wake up and the first thing we do is check our phone. Could you imagine just going through Twitter and then you're like, oh my god, R-Truth just lost the title.
That's the thing about this belt is they could go live on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
WWE Network. They could put it on the network. They have a literal network.
Yeah, there's so many different things they could do with this title, and it is perfect for the world we live in because we are all tapped into social media 24/7, and so you'll never miss it. Really, you won't miss it.
And it's so easy to catch up on. I woke up this morning. I woke up an hour ago. And I'm going through Drake Maverick's Twitter, Kathy Kelly's Twitter, R-Truth's Twitter, and they're all just putting... R-Truth was in the doctor's office. running away from. He thinks he's got paranoia because he's the European 24/7 champion, and it's like that's just this is what I didn't realize, and it can be the weirdest things. I've been in a funk with wrestling as of late, and literally this championship, this stuff that's going on in the last 3 or 4 days, has completely taken me out of it. It's made me unnegative towards anything WWE's doing, because I'm going, okay, that stuff, whatever. I'm focusing on here, and this is what I really like. And it's weird that something like that could take me out of my little bit of a time with wrestling. But I'm all about it now. I'm like, yep, sign me up for everything. I'm happy, which is really odd. But hey, it's done its job with me. So, I mean, to me, that's working. And I understand the title is ugly. Like you said, it's probably not as ugly as everyone's going on to be about it. But, who cares what the title looks like as long as it's fun?
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this belt.
Yeah, a lot of fun. But that's all I really wanted to touch on WWE-wise, because it is All Elite Week, and I don't want to take away the focus from All Elite Wrestling this week. We'll get into All Elite Wrestling in just a moment, but Kevin, I have noticed something as of late. There's something that's been missing from Wrestling Reverb.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know where I'm going with this. For a little while, there's been a missing element, and last night I was just thinking about recording today, and I'm like, what haven't we done in a little while? And of course, everyone that listens to this show probably knows what I'm referring to by now, because it is time for the return of some Kevin versus Australia.
Mate. G'day. G'day, Cobber.
I've been dreading this moment.
Kevin, it's back. You've had a little bit of a time away from Kevin versus Australia. Today, I don't think it's going to be too hard. I honestly don't think it's going to be too hard, because
you say that now, but we'll see.
It's not a weird term or a weird food, so you can take a breath on that one. But today we're gonna talk some music, Australian music. There's been, I'm sure in the wonderful world there has been some Australians that have burst into the scene. All you need to do today, Kevin, is name 3 different artists or bands from Australia. 3.
Oh, damn it. Well, AC/DC for one. My favorite band.
That's 1.
Is Kylie Minogue from Australia?
She is. That's 2.
Oh!
1 more.
How about the band Men at Work?
Are they Australian? I believe they are.
I have no idea, but I know they have the song Land Down Under.
They have the song Down Under. Let me check if they're Australian, because I'm not actually sure.
Yeah. I need them to be.
Yeah, they're Australian.
Yeah.
You win. You got 3.
Let's go.
That second one is Kylie Minogue Australian. How dare you? She's like our Australian pop princess from the 90s. She's still singing now.
I remember you bringing it up in our Brainbusta Radio group DM. You were talking about Kylie Minogue one day, and I just happened to remember that. And I was like, well, you know what? Josh is talking about Kylie Minogue. There's a good shot she's Australian.
Okay. Here's a bonus question for you. Can you name 1 Kylie Minogue song?
I think I only know 1. And it's not even just her. It's Kylie Minogue and Robbie Williams, the kids.
Oh, okay. Alright, it's not even technically her song, it's Robbie Williams' songs, but I mean, yeah, great song. I'll take it. Oh my god, Kylie Minogue. Kylie Minogue is great. Everyone listening to this, go listen to some Kylie Minogue from back in the Dizzy. She has some great tunes. I recommend, On a Night Like This, Spinning Around, Can't Get You Out of My Head, all great songs. But alright, I'll accept that. You won. Okay, yay, Kevin won, yay.
I'd like to thank God and also Jesus. Big win for me, The comeback is real.
Hey, they don't call it a comeback for nothing.
Yes.
So, Kevin, you won this week. Good luck. Congratulations, I guess. But there'll be more. I'm not going to forget about Kevin versus Australia. There will be more. But I think it's time we get into some All Elite Wrestling. Let's hear from one of our Brainbusta family members just quickly, and then we'll be back with some Brainbusta Radio Week's All Elite Week.
Hey there, this is Wilford from Wilford Watches Podcast, and you're listening to Wrestling Reverb.
Alrighty, Kevin, let's get into some All Elite Wrestling. Straight off the bat, are you super excited for Double or Nothing this weekend?
I am pretty excited because it could be a landscape-changing event. There's a lot of great matches on the card. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch live. I've already committed to some other plans for Saturday. But I will watch it on the rewatch as soon as I can, maybe even like later Saturday night. And I'm looking forward to a lot of different things and a lot of different aspects of the show.
Oh, me too. Each day we get closer, I get more and more excited. I really am excited for this show. I think this is going to be a breath of fresh air into the industry, and what we're kind of focusing on today here on Wrestling Reverb, I know some of our Brainbusta family has done some predictions, and they've looked at certain aspects. We're looking at what AEW could do for the entire industry, a little look into the future, what we think is really gonna, the impact it's gonna have on the industry as a whole. So Kevin, when you think, okay, let's rewind a little bit here. When All Elite Wrestling was first announced, honest opinion, what was your take on it when you first heard?
I thought it was big news. I thought that the rumblings had been in the air for a while. The rumors had been floating about what Cody and the Bucks were doing, and when they announced All Elite Wrestling, I thought this could be a big deal. This could be a major player because they had the backing of the Khan family, the billionaire Khan family, and they have a love for wrestling, and they have such a deep, talented pool of wrestlers they could choose from, like guys that are friends with the Elite, because they made so many lasting relationships through BTE and through their time in Japan, their time in Ring of Honor, their time in WWE with Cody. So I had a feeling that like they could do something really special when they first announced it.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, oh, this is... Of course, we heard rumblings and rumors around for a few months of, certain people being involved with a new company, but it wasn't announced until, January, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, so I was the same. Big news. As it's gotten closer, I didn't realize how big this thing could actually be. But my first kind of initial reaction, after oh, okay, Jericho's involved, Cody's involved, this is going to be pretty cool. I am that person that goes, okay, but does it have a financial backing? And boy, he does it. It has a financial backing and a half. It's got a lot of money behind it, it is important. It is a big aspect of what can make a thriving wrestling company, especially in this day and age. You need the financial backing to have stars, to have production value, and whatever it may be. So yeah, that was my kind of initial thought was, does it have money? And 100%, Tony does. His family's got a lot of money, and they have a lot of money put into this. I was actually watching an interview with Tony the other day, and he was saying that he thinks this is going to be his biggest company, and that's a lot. That's saying a lot.
Dude owns the Jaguars too. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. He said that in an interview. He said he thinks this is going to be the biggest company that he owns, and it's going to be the biggest prospect of his, I guess, extension of stuff that he does. But that's saying something. But as we head in, months have progressed, and I think the hype is just getting turned up to 11 here for Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing itself has a lot of cool matches. It has a lot of cool... it could have a lot of cool results, a lot of cool outcomes. First things first, I do want to talk to you about the fact that in the States, you guys are purchasing Double or Nothing on pay-per-view. We're purchasing on Fight TV here. Do you think that AEW will go towards a more of a streaming kind of way as they progress, or do you think traditional pay-per-view is still something that's relevant in 2019?
I think that if they do go to streaming at some point, it's going to be far down the road. I think for now, their setup is okay. Traditional pay-per-view is still a viable alternative to stream. I know because of the WWE has done it differently with the streaming service that we don't think about pay-per-view as much anymore. But you got to look at other companies that don't have their streaming services like Impact and Ring of Honor. They still put on pay-per-views and they still draw crowds. So I think that AEW will be in a good spot with their their market pricing and their way of doing business here. I know a lot of people were complaining that the price in America was a little steep, and it is. But that's the price you pay for wrestling. I mean, you order a WWE pay-per-view, it's going to be about $60.
I mean, who's ordering WWE pay-per-views at this point, though?
Nobody.
Yeah. So it's, what did you say? Is it $50 in the States?
I think so. Something around those lines.
It's $30 here on Fight in Australia. That's in Australian money too, which is more expensive than the American dollar. So I mean, $30 is fine by me here. And I kind of like the fact that it's on Fight, to be honest, because Fight works quite nicely. I've used it for other things before, and Fight seems fairly good. I can hook it up to my Chromecast. I'm good to go. Okay, so traditional pay-per-view is still a thing. It's not like it isn't a thing. It's just, I guess we just live in an internet age, really. Everything's on the internet. TV is dying. I'll always kind of debate that TV is dying, and people want to watch things at their own time and on their own pace, and that's why Netflix does as well as it does. But, so if you look, we've got Double or Nothing. They have another pay-per-view announced, do they not?
Yeah,
Fight for the
one
Fallen?
in Jacksonville, Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah.
I don't remember when it's going to be, but it's
this year. Yeah, I want to say it was in July, but I could be wrong.
Could be wrong. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was July. But do you see All Elite Wrestling doing a pay-per-view a month eventually, or do you see it more being every couple of months, every 3 months? Do you see them having that more 11, 12 pay-per-views a year kind of deal, or do you see them... What do you see for their pay-per-view business?
I don't see them doing a pay-per-view a month like WWE does, because I think they want to be a viable alternative to WWE. And in that regard, I think a lot of people have a gripe with WWE because they put on like 13, 14, 15 pay-per-views a year, if you count the Saudi shows. And I personally think that's too much. It doesn't make them feel that special if it's only a month in between. I think Cody knows that, and I think we're not going to ever see like a pay-per-view a month. We'll see one every 2, 3, 4 months. And I think that's a good way to go about things.
No, that's fair. I get that. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I could honestly see them doing a pay-per-view a month, but I don't see them doing, 14, 15 shows a year. If they were to do, one a month, I think it would just be one a month, and then their TV. Of course, they're going to be on TNT in the States. That's obviously a big deal. They're on a major network. They're prime time. We don't know what day it is yet, but I'm like the rumors have been saying, it seems to be leaning to a Tuesday, which is fine by me, as SmackDown moves and stuff like that. What do you think about the deal with TNT? Does that kind of put the stamp on everyone, like, hey, we're here, we're a big deal?
It legitimizes them.
Yeah.
It really does. TNT's a major network. Oh, everyone carries TNT. and everyone is gonna have, and it's a channel known for broadcasting sports too. The basketball is on TNT a lot, golf is on TNT a lot. So you have like sports fans that know where TNT is and know to tune in, and I think you'll be able to get a lot of those fans to tune into AEW.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it here in Australia straight away. We might. I'm not sure though. I would like to hope that we get it as well, but I think they're trying to put their stamp on the States first. I think that's their priority first, is getting themselves set up in America and then heading out to other avenues. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. You have to establish a base.
Exactly, and I understand that. Of course, there's still going to be ways that I can watch it, wink, nudge, nudge, but, I mean, I'll still be able to access it somehow, but I don't think it'll be on Australian TV for a few years. Do you see them eventually becoming that international company, or is that just too far out of the works to even talk about right now?
Yeah, I think with the company in its infancy, you have to worry about home first.
Yeah.
This is an American-based company. Seems like they're based out of Jacksonville. And I think that's where they're probably gonna stick around the area. And they're still gonna go. Maybe they'll go to Vegas again. Maybe they'll go to Chicago for. I know they're planning an All-In too. So I think they're just gonna stick around in America for a while. Maybe someday they'll go international if it works out for them. But we just have to see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you completely. I think that when we look at the industry as a whole, do you think that even now, they haven't even had a show, do you think they are the number 2 company?
No.
You don't?
No, not yet.
You don't? Okay. I know a lot of people think they are, and it's, I don't know, there's arguments for it, there's argument against it, but I mean, for me, they haven't had a show. So therefore, You can't really, we don't know. Hey, I know in my heart that Double or Nothing is going to be great. And I'm pretty sure the expectation is high, and I think they're going to exceed the expectations. But we haven't seen it. It could be terrible. It really could be. I doubt it will be, but it really could be just complete dog shit. We don't know that, so therefore there's no way to really say, oh, they're the number 2 company at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be a lot easier to put things into perspective after we watch this show.
Yeah, and I think I think is it do or die? Is it really Double or Nothing here for AEW? Do they really have to knock this show out of the park, or can they just coast? Can they just float and rest on the fact that we have a fan base kind of established already?
No, I think they need to go out and deliver big time. I think that this is going to shape there's a lot of people, there's definitely AEW diehards that are going to roll with this company no matter what. But there's people like me and a lot of people out there who are sort of looking at this like, all right, well, this is their big audition. This is their test run. If they don't knock it out the park, I'm not going to feel inclined to watch.
Hey, very much true here. I want to talk about, like, of course there's been so many stars that have been announced for Double or Nothing and just for AEW in general. I've just been scrolling through my Twitter now, and, to see the likes of Sean Spears, Ty Dillinger, whatever you want to call him, he's in that battle royal and stuff like that. And, you look at the faces around, do you think it's going to be, I don't think personally it is a problem, but some people do. Do you think that if they get too many former, quote-unquote, WWE stars, that it's just going to look like a second-rate WWE?
They have to strike a balance. They have to really, they can't be too full of ex-WWE guys. I think it's important to bring some in, though, because, again, you have fans that aren't sure whether or not they want to watch. So if they have people they can identify with and they could see, like Dillinger, or Sean Spears, I should say, I think that's a big pickup for them, because people are going to tune into to the buy-in, to the pre-show, and they're going to see Dillinger, and they're going to say, oh, wow, I know him. I want to watch him. I want to see what he did, because they wasted him in WWE, you could say. And I think so. You have to have some of those guys, but you can't become like an all WWE cast off company.
Yeah, and, there's going to be some people, to me, Chris Jericho is a WWE guy. He is.
Yeah.
He's been there, he's been in the industry for so long. However, Chris Jericho is also Chris Jericho. So, him there, not so much for us, say Kevin, but for someone that, like you said, is on the fence about AEW, that's not sure whether to order it, they could literally see someone like Chris Jericho and go, I'm ordering it because I like him. I watched him for 20 years. I know who he is, so I'm going to click over and see what he's doing over here. It's the same argument that could be made for when he went to New Japan. I didn't watch New Japan. His show, Wrestle Kingdom, what was it, 11? The one that he fought Omega on? That was the
12.
first ever, or it was 12, my apologies. That was the first ever New Japan show that I watched in its entirety, and it was because of him. He brought me over to New Japan, and I watched the whole thing. And ever since then, I've kept up to date with New Japan. I am a casual fan of it, but I watch it when I need to and when I want to. And if Jericho never went there, I probably never would have watched that show. To be honest, I probably never would have. So, in my mind, Jericho could be doing that for people that want to watch AEW or aren't sure whether to watch AEW. But when we talk about an oversaturation of WWE stars, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but like you said, you have to find the balance. You have to have a balance between stars we don't know, stars we know from other places, stars we really know from WWE. It has to. But at the end of the day, talent is talent. And, even if they are an ex-WWE guy, you wouldn't just say no for that reason, in my mind.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have to have talented individuals, and the most talented individuals are going to be people with that WWE experience because they've made it to the cream of the crop.
Yeah, as much as people don't want to admit too much, WWE is the number one company in the world in terms of mainstream appeal, and those talent that have been at WWE know how to be on television. So that's never. Some of these guys that are on All Elite, that are in All Elite Wrestling, have never been on TV before. They don't know what it's like, or they've never been on mainstream television before. Do you think that's going to play a factor into this?
Yeah, there's a learning curve. You have to know how to hit cameras and how to, what way to do your moves so that you're facing the hard cam. And there's a lot of TV aspects that go into it that a lot of these guys haven't necessarily experienced. I know a bunch of them have, but not everybody, and that's important.
Yeah, no, I agree, because really there's no way to prepare for television unless you're doing it. Especially live TV, I can imagine would just be, it'd be hard, and it'd be a weird adjustment to get used of. But, doing it is the only way to get experience in it. So, as you, Kev, as any fun wrestling fan that wants the industry to succeed, is that I want everyone to do well, and I want this to do really well, so then everyone else does really well. That's my kind of outtake on it. I don't see this as, okay, there is somewhat that is a competition. It is somewhat of, there is always going to be that aspect of competition and we're always going to compare certain things to other places. It's just human nature. But to me, I don't see this as it's more of an alternative than competition. There is the competition aspect, but it is more of an alternative. It's just somewhere else for people to work, somewhere to other people to watch, and it's more wrestling. So when you look at that aspect of, if you look at it from a competition standpoint, what does it do for the industry?
It's another big company that is announcing its arrival, and if it delivers the way we think it will, it's gonna put a lot of pressure on other companies in America. Maybe not WWE as much right away. I don't think they're willing to admit that they're being tested. But think about companies like Ring of Honor and Impact that might start to fade into the background if AEW is as good as advertised. especially Impact, because Impact is they always seem to have financial issues, and people tune in because they're the only other company on TV in America, really. I mean, you can catch Ring of Honor on like the local channels at midnight on a Saturday, but you catch Impact regularly every week. But if people don't need to tune into Impact and they can tune into AEW, they're gonna do that.
That's true. That's very true. I think, well, for me, at least, it does create an excitement in the industry that, is arguable that has been gone for such a long time. The excitement value of just, what is this and where is this heading? We have no idea, because it's pretty easy for us to say, Kevin, because we are, primarily WWE fans, and we watch a lot of WWE programming, so we're very structured in the way a show is set out, how it looks, how it feels, how it runs. With AEW, it's unknown territory for all of us, but for people like us that only really watch WWE, it is weird to go outside of that bubble of just how a show is structured. When you're going into AEW, it's hard for me, it may not be hard for you, but is it hard to get out of that mindset?
Yeah, because we're going to get a different show. We're going to get a different, we're not going to get a WWE feel type of show, because I think they're purposely striving out to be different, which they should be. But it is going to be weird, because I'm used to watching wrestling a certain way. I've watched wrestling a certain way for 13 years, and now it's like I'm stepping outside. I mean, I've watched Impact, and they're different, but I mean, this is going to be something completely, totally different from anything we've seen before, and it is going to be weird to adjust to that. It's going to take like a trial process.
Yep, I agree completely. It's not something probably a lot of people think about. I don't know, but nonetheless, I'm all welcoming for something new. I'm always all welcoming for something different, something fresh, something new. Now we're going to get into what we think the industry will look like post Double or Nothing, maybe 6 months down the line. But first, we're just going to hear from another member of the Brainbusta family. We'll be back in just a second.
Hi, everyone. It's the Queen of NE, and you're listening to Wrestling Reverb right here on Brainbusta Radio, where you can also find me on Queen's Court every Wednesday.
Okay, so we are back, and what we've been hyping all week for this show is where we think the industry is headed, and where we think the industry, what we think is going to happen. Is this going to create another wrestling boom period, per se? Kevin, what do you think? Is it going to be a time where wrestling becomes cool again?
Yes. That is the most important thing we could all take from this, is that wrestling is cool again. Wrestling is, I mean, it's slowly been getting there. I feel like with the addition of ESPN to WWE coverage, wrestling is sort of becoming back into the mainstream. But this is going to help tremendously, because this is going to be a more sports-based alternative, according to their own words, the AEW folks' words. So wrestling is going to be better than ever, because you're going to have a great number of viable alternatives to watching WWE. You can watch whatever you want now, and that's even true with some of the other companies that are out there, because you're getting more access to wrestling now than you ever have before.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right to a certain degree, is that wrestling has become it's definitely more accepted in a society than it once was, and I think that will always be there. But I mean, everyone knows what WWE is, but they don't necessarily know what pro wrestling is, to be honest. Like, people know that WWE is that wrestling stuff. That's what people know it as. And I hope that AEW comes along and it kind of creates a little bit of a buzz again. Because I think that's what's lacking in the industry, is just hype and buzz. And it almost, to a certain degree, we can't get pro wrestling out to anyone except people who like wrestling. There's no way to expand. And I think the only way to expand is more great wrestling and more great programming. so then we can get out of this bubble and go to other places. I think you're right. ESPN does help a lot because it makes it a little bit more authentic. It makes it a little bit more real. When you hear the words AEW is going to be a little bit more sports focused, it's going to be a little bit more sport driven, does that worry you? Because I like pro wrestling when it's entertainment based. That's my favorite kind of wrestling. I don't think that AEW is going to shy away from that, but at the same time, wrestling is wrestling. And I don't know. What do you think about when you hear about that?
I think the most important thing that comes to mind when I hear sports-based as opposed to entertainment-based is going to be records matter, wins and losses matter, and there's going to be just more athleticism and maybe less of the shenanigans. And I actually kind of like that because, I don't know, sometimes the shtick of WWE does get a little old. That they're an entertainment company first and foremost. So this is just another example of All Elite being an alternative, is that they want to be a sports company. They want to be a wrestling company and not a sports entertainment company. And I think that they're going to do a lot of different things to make themselves differentiable, if that's a word, from WWE.
Yeah, they do have to. You can't just be WWE 2.0. You do have to separate yourself, and I guess this is the way to do it. I honestly love that side of pro wrestling that is the entertainment-based side, and I still think there's going to be elements of it in AEW. It's still pro wrestling. But I heard an interview, and this kind of struck a chord with me. I was like, oh man, that really does make sense. It was on with Bully Ray on what's Busted Open or whatever it's called. I can't think of the name.
Yep.
Is that what it's called? Anyway.
The Busted Open Radio.
I seen a little, written version of it somewhere, and it said, Bully Ray said, Vince McMahon realized in 1996 that, well, a little bit earlier, but around that time, that pro wrestling needed to be sports entertainment. And he took that and he ran with it and he made it huge. He believes that the team at AEW, Cody Rhodes, etc., realizes that the sports entertainment needs to become pro wrestling again. And I really believe that. I think sports entertainment does need to become pro wrestling again, because while I love the entertainment side of things, I think we have shied away from pro wrestling, especially in WWE world. What do you think about when you hear that kind of statement?
That's a great line. That is a really good line from Bully Ray. Yeah, wrestling, it's not pro wrestling anymore. It's sports entertainment. And when I hear sports entertainment, I think of, dramatic storylines and promos and characters and wacky outfits and stuff like that. When I think of pro wrestling, I think of two guys in there fighting to see who's the best. That's what I want to see.
I want to see that blend. I want to see WWE do sports entertainment very well. They do it well, sometimes. But they are very sports entertainment. There is aspects of pro wrestling within the company, NXT, and, the actual in-ring stuff. But I don't want there to be this and this. I just want that ultimate blend. We had that. WWE's done that. Other companies have done that blend, but never stuck with it. They just go to left of field or right of field. I want AEW to be that ultimate blend of pro wrestling and sports entertainment, and just mix them and gel them and make it wonderful as wrestling once was. I think that's what I look at when I see AEW. It's just I want wrestling to be fun, and I want it to be cool again, and I want to be able to go into work and people watch wrestling instead of, there's obviously people that still watch wrestling, but it's like, you've been around lots of people before and you've maybe brought it up, or something's been brought up about it, and then you kind of look around, play the room. Does anyone know and you go, okay, that person likes wrestling, so I can talk to that person about it. I want everybody, it's not going to be huge like Game of Thrones where everybody watches it, but I want to get to that where people are talking about it. You can post something on the internet and people know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know if we'll get there, or it might take a little bit of time, But this only helps that. And hey, when we look at it from outside of All Elite Wrestling, the industry as a whole, hopefully this makes WWE better. Hopefully this makes Impact better. Hopefully this makes Ring of Honor better, so on and so on and so on. When you look at it outside of All Elite Wrestling, do you think that will happen? Or do you think, especially WWE, do you think they're just going to go, we don't care?
WWE might. But not after a string of successful pay-per-views if that happens. At some point, if AEW continues on this upward trajectory they're on, and they haven't even had a show yet and they're still on an upward trajectory, and that could go through the roof if Double or Nothing pans out. But if they put on a string of shows that are really great and people get eyes on them and people jump ship, WWE's gonna have to do something. Impact's going to have to do something. Ring of Honor is going to have to do something. They're going to have to tweak their programming to make people want to tune in, and I think that's going to be for the betterment of all of wrestling.
Yeah. Agreed. When we look at stars that are, in All Elite Wrestling and just stars outside of All Elite Wrestling, is there anyone you would like to really see in AEW?
So, I know there's obvious answers. I've had plenty of exposure to guys like Omega and the Bucks, Cody Rhodes. You know who I'm excited to see? The Lucha Bros, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. Got to see them in Lucha Underground, but I didn't get to see them tag together. I saw them face each other a couple times. But I really think that match, the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, is going to be a show stealer.
Yeah, hey, I honestly think that as well. I'm excited to see lots of people, but there's not really one name. I've seen a lot of these guys, like you said, Omega and Cody and the Bucks and that. I've seen them in the ring. I'm excited to be exposed to some people that I don't know. There's a lot of names on that roster that I'm unfamiliar with, and that's a good thing. I want that because I want new people to fall in love with. I want new people to appreciate and love and want to see.
Yeah, and that's why you can't just overload the roster with ex-WWE talent, is because you want to watch a different show. You want to see guys you've never been exposed to before.
Definitely, 100%. There's obviously... This is the thing, I mean, there's going to be pros and cons to everything. If there's any con to this at the moment, is that as soon as someone has had the slightest problem with WWE and they want out, or it's known that or it's at least assumed they want out, it's like they're going to AEW. You look at Sasha. Okay, Sasha hasn't even left the company, what we know of, and everyone's like, AEW, she's going to AEW, and it's like, no, not everyone that leaves that company is going to AEW. That's not how it's going to be. But I guess that's just going to be a thing now. When will we get to the point that if someone wants to leave AEW, they're going to WWE? That will be a thing in a few years, let's be honest. But I guess if there's any con to it, I guess it's that. What do you think about when you kind of hear, this person should go to AEW? Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think that's like some people just need to shut up?
It's annoying. I really wish that's what people used to do for Impact when Impact was in its heyday, was that every time someone left WWE, they're going to Impact Wrestling or vice versa. And then we saw it for a little bit with New Japan. Guys like Ziggler were like, Ziggler's going to New Japan. Dillinger's going to New Japan. And now we're seeing it with AEW. It's just the way it goes, is that people are always going to speculate on people. And we always see these reports, and with journalism being what it is in wrestling right now, we're always going to be seeing these reports of people that are unhappy. And whenever we see that, we're bound to think they're going somewhere else. AEW is just that company right now.
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of deal we're in. But from a personal standpoint, is there anyone that has recently left or is kind of leaving, or wherever it may be, not just WWE, or just someone in the free agency that you would really like to see in AEW?
I would love to see the Revival there. I think they're a good fit. I think they wrestle a style that is like pro wrestling to its core.
Yeah.
I think that their character work it's good enough to succeed in AEW. It's not like the best thing about them, but I think they're good enough, and I think that they would have put on great matches with the Bucks, the Lucha Bros, the Best Friends. So many great tag teams they have there, and the Bucks have said they want AEW to be a real big focus on tag team wrestling, and who better than the Revival, a team that many think are the best tag team in the world.
Yeah, hey, Revival would be fantastic there. In all honesty, if Banks is done, I would like to see Banks there because I think they need to build their women's division. They have great workers within their women's division, but to me, they don't have stars. And that's not a knock. They just haven't had a chance to be stars. But they've got Britt Baker and Kylie Ray and stuff like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I think someone like that would benefit from that. But, I mean, there's so many. We could probably list person after person on who we want to see there. But it is a big deal. I guess as we're kind of winding down and, like we said, we still don't know what's kind of going on with Double or Nothing. We haven't seen it. It hasn't aired yet. The excitement level is high for me. It's high for you. What's the match you're looking forward to the most at Double or Nothing?
Oh man, I'll give you my sleeper. It's the Best Friends versus Angelico, or Best Friends being Chucky T and Beretta, versus Angelico and Jack Evans. That's going to be an absolute spot fest of a match.
Yeah, it will be. It definitely will be.
And then the obvious answer, of course, for me being Omega Jericho 2. The first one was so good. Can they top it? Will they top it? I can't wait to see.
I'm excited for that. What put me over the edge with this show is Cody and Dustin, which is not something I thought I'd say, but that put me from I'm gonna watch this show to I have to watch this show. It really just struck a chord with me. It's something that we should have seen a long time ago on a big stage, and it's finally happening. So that I'm very excited about. Jericho Omega, obviously. The Lucha Bros and the Bucks will be fantastic. I'm excited to see that Battle Royal. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be. There's a lot of good names in there. There's still some surprises waiting to happen. I think that's important. It's important that the Battle Royal is good because that's on the free buy-in show.
Yep.
And along with Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara. And that is just really important that those succeed because you're going to get a lot of people that are tuning into that thinking, should I buy this pay-per-view?
Yep.
And if the Battle Royal is good, people will buy.
And not only that, it has a lot of impact on the future of AEW with an AEW World Championship shot. So it would be the winner of that Battle Royal taking on the winner of Jericho and Omega to fight for the AEW World Championship. That got announced today or yesterday. So that's exciting. It has some meaning behind it. And like you said, it's on the free show, so people that are on the fence the day of that are watching this show for free might go, okay, I need to buy this show. It is an exciting time in the industry. I'm so happy that it's happening because it just makes the whole business, the whole landscape of wrestling better. And that's what I want. I want wrestling to be. I want people to come at me around my town and be like, oh man, I really should have been watching wrestling a long time ago. What is this? Well, tell me about it. I want to be that person that kind of can draw everybody else in so that people can get into this, and it's not embarrassing to show someone wrestling that hasn't watched wrestling, because sometimes it can get pretty why do I still watch some of this content? But I think with AEW it is going to have that level of coolness. Any final thoughts that you want to add on here, Kevin, as we wind down?
Not really, just I'm excited. I'm cautiously excited, but I think they're going to deliver. I think AEW is going to put on one hell of a show on Saturday, and I think we're going to be seeing the future of professional wrestling. Hey,
I agree with you 1,000%. that'll kind of do us for this week on Wrestling Reverb. We hope everyone checks out the rest of All Elite Week here on Brainbusta Radio. Checks out Double or Nothing. And, I do have to say, briefly, I ain't gonna harp on about this. I sent out a tweet. It's just like Crown Jewel. I have made the decision just based on personal preference and personal opinion and just my take on everything that the Super Showdown Saudi show will not be getting covered here on Wrestling Reverb. Maybe a brief comment here or there, but no review, no in-depth analysis on that at all. I'm not going to go on about it too much. If you need information on why, head over to my Twitter, find the tweet. But it was a decision made 100% just based on personal things. That's all I'll say on that. But on that note, we'll catch you next week on Wrestling Reverb, and I'm sure Kevin and I will have a lot to talk about in regards. It'll be our kind of Double or Nothing review show, kind of. It'll just be a lot of thoughts on Double or Nothing, I'm sure. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next week, and see you later. Peace out.